Okay. Well, I guess we can start kind of getting started here anyway while we're waiting for that. I need to adjust that a little bit. There we go. Okay.
Is this any better?
Your microphone changed. You're on a different mic.
Well, I reset the headset.
Ah, I think it went to your computer mic instead.
You're definitely on a different microphone.
Mm-hmm.
Fainter?
More like you've got your head in a bucket.
Lower quality.
Much more processed, yeah.
Let me check it.
I love it. I like it.
Muzak. Oh.
You right?
You okay there?
I bit my cheek.
Oh,
Oh. I mean,
Again.
again, what? Why did you do it?
Well, like the other day, I bit my tongue the other day, and then later in the day, I bit my cheek too on the same side. So, like for 2 or 3 days, like if I tried to talk, is because one side of my mouth is all swollen. It's fucking sucked.
that's normal for me. I have like a permanent bump on the inside of my mouth because it just
Mm-hmm.
scarred over. Because I don't know why, but I always end up biting through it.
Oh yeah, I've done that. Like bite down,
No,
you hear
like-
it crunch. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
that hurts.
Well, I've done it enough to cause scar tissue.
Yeah. So, like I said, while David figures out which mic he's using, we'll go ahead and start kind of recapping. So last week, the group kind of split up. Brahm, Mongo, and Naren went down through the sewers to check that way. Rockmon, Ristel, and Zora took the surface and went through the gate. Sewer group followed. It turns out that Vendor's path was, dead on. Probably forgot to mention that there was cleaners at work in the sewer. I think would be the best way to describe it.
I would not call them cleaners.
Well, I mean, they kept the sewer population pretty low.
Okay, can't argue that logic.
Yep.
Vermin Management Group.
Yes. The group managed, or the three, or the sewer group managed to take one of them down fairly quickly. Followed the sewer the rest of the way, and came out basically in the one of the courtyards in the castle. I don't think you guys really explored too much once you got past there, right?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
Right, because we were mission complete, we validated that the map was correct.
Yep. As far as the surface, the city group, the surface group, you guys kind of went in through the gate, made a deal with the innkeep at the tavern. I forgot what the name of the damn tavern was. Fragile Explorer.
By made a deal, you mean ripped them off?
Lied out their ass and ripped them off? Yeah.
Yeah.
And that will never come back to haunt you.
Ever. I mean, I don't know why we're still mentioning it. We know it's not going to happen.
And we'll say, let's see.
Legally, I don't think that Bristol ever promised a time frame, did he?
He did.
Oh, he did.
Yep. said, "Yeah, I'll be back in 2 or 3
3 or
weeks."
4 weeks. Yeah.
Was it 3 or 4? I thought it was 2 to 3.
Yeah,
Either way, we all know it's his actual plan is sometime between tomorrow and infinity, leaning towards infinity.
Tomorrow and never.
Yeah. The day after the world ends, I should be able to deliver your order. But did that and then kind of moved on. Heard about the out of towners. Kind of holed up in kind of a warehouse district up on the north side. Hiccups, jeez. You guys went and did some scouting and found what looked to be some larger drakes of some kind. Definitely not something normal, not something recognized at the very least by really anybody in the party. They kind of matched the description that you'd gotten, but it was certainly unexpected from what I gathered from the group. That it was drakes and not dragons. Last I knew is, as we were kind of wrapping up, was that Mongo Brahm and Naren were planning to head back through the sewers to meet up with the surface group. Were you guys going to meet up outside or in town?
I
Or
don't think we figured that out yet.
scale
What
down the side
Ristel-
from the castle?
What Ristel told Flix to pass along was to meet inside the city at the Fragile Explorer.
Oh, okay.
And what we were thinking was that there was that outside access from the chamber that the Humble Vampire was in,
Mhm.
that we could, instead of going all the way back out and then go through the gate, we could come out through that access chamber and not have to go through the gate.
Okay. Yeah, that
Either way, we've got the problem of
right.
we've been sloshing through the sewer for hours.
Yep. Yeah, and it has been a little bit of time since you guys have been going, because the entrance was kind of over on this side initially, and it kind of weaved through the city a little ways.
We just need Rockmon and his prestidigitation.
Sure, something like that. But yeah, in the end, the access was actually kind of right behind the tavern. So but you guys are gonna all meet up back at the tavern then? Yes. Any plans before you guys head back to the tavern for either group?
We're going to do a short rest.
Okay. Where?
Figured just under the grate at the top.
Okay. And surface group? Rockmon... Rockmon, Ristel, Zora? Just straight back to the tavern?
We were going to check the perimeter
That's right.
and look at the walls just to see what it looked like, see if there's any interesting
Oh yeah.
access
Well,
or
a weak
exit
spot on the wall,
points.
maybe.
Okay. Let's see. One of you give me an investigation.
Who's is that? That's the real question. I do not think Zora's very good at it.
Probably the wizard.
Yeah, I'm trying to open my character sheet. Sorry, I forgot to do that.
I mean, can I insight the wall?
What?
I mean, you can. It's not talking to you. Its body language is kind of stiff. It doesn't seem to. It's very uncertain of you.
Okay.
It's kind of giving you the cold shoulder.
Oh, I'm upset. Is it because I'm a plant and he's a rock? I have a nasty habit of breaking them down. So which of us is doing that?
I don't know. Oh,
Yeah,
Dashik's did.
Rockmon did.
Okay, Rockmon did. So I saw Zora. I was like, still waiting. Okay. With the 15. So as you guys are kind of going around the wall, checking everything out, like I say, you do notice that the gate itself does seem to be pretty well reinforced. It's a little bit of a heavier gate. It's one person could open one side of the gate. It's you'd have to be a little bit stronger. Like Mongo would be able to probably open up one side of the gate with a nominal, a fair amount of force. Breaking in the front gate looks to be like it'd be a little bit tough. It seems like a lot of the defense from the city itself comes more from the fact that it kind of builds up the mountain, so the elevation, kind of almost natural walls. As far as overall weak points, nothing really jumps out.
That's reassuring.
Excuse me.
I don't want to be attacked.
You do seem to find that there's about 3 gates all the way around the city.
Are the walls pretty uniformly the same height all the way around?
Yeah, for the most part. Like I say, it's because the city itself is built kind of on a tier, or because it's built more or less up the peak. Each level kind of sits about 30 to 40 feet above the level below it. So it gives it kind of a natural wall, so they don't have to have the walls quite as high on each level. But from one level to the next, from the lower level to the upper level, the wall would look to be probably closer to like the 40 to 50 foot range. There is some variability in the height of the walls, but not terribly much. If you're on a level looking down below, the wall on your level would probably only be about 10 feet. But looking up from below, you're looking about 40.
Okay, so it sounds like so between the three gates, are they all pretty equivalent, or does it look like one might be easier to get open or anything like that?
For the outer gates, they all seem to be fairly uniform. They're all kind of this heavier, solid air. This heavier, thicker wood, kind of reinforced with metal bracings. Let's see. From the looks of it, it looks like they're. If you had to guess, it looks as if the walls are designed more to keep people in than out. They certainly do function very well to keep people out, obviously, but the natural defense of just the elevation seems to be the primary function for keeping people out. Otherwise, it's mostly keeping people in.
And we still don't see anything in particular that makes us think that they're preparing for an assault.
I mean, other than the Drakes and the Gearforge manufacturing and that such.
Yeah, in terms of like, there's no extra guards on the walls or lookouts or troops lined up around any of the gates or anything at all like that, right?
On the walls themselves, like on the outer walls, no, you're not noticing like nothing that seems like it would be an increase in guards or anything like that. No. It seems, if you had to guess, it's maybe word hasn't reached the Broadest lore yet that there's an army marching on them.
Right.
The sewer group. You guys are taking a short rest, right? Still up,
Yep.
kind of right below the courtyard, up top.
Yes.
Okay.
Naga would really like to get his strength back.
Otherwise, you won't be able to open the gate.
Okay. Give me a d20. I want to see something. Okay. All right. Yeah, you guys are going to complete a short rest and then head on back to the sewers, right? I imagine the surface group, that'll take you guys a couple of hours to kind of get all the way around the city and I assume trying not to kind of draw attention to yourselves or anything like that.
Oh yeah.
Zora just walks up to the wall and knocks on it. So what's this
Got
made
her.
of?
I imagine Zora's walking around with like a sketchbook in his hand from his arts tools.
Mhm.
Just sort of like, oh, this is like, buttresses, yes.
That might actually get some attention.
So I mean, you bring up a point though. Like Zora, you're kind of almost making sketches, or kind of as you go.
Not just the walls, but like of architecture in general.
Right.
It's just so that if anyone questions, it's like, yeah, I'm a traveling artist, and this
Mhm.
place is kind of interesting.
Okay.
So I assume the architecture here is different from most cities.
Right. A little bit more gothic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys otherwise? Are you guys trying to blend in, like keep a low profile, or?
I would certainly think so.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, like I said, it would take you guys a couple of hours to get all the way around. In that time, I imagine the sewer group kind of does their short rest. It's going to take them a little bit of time to get back through, and unless somebody has something they want to do, otherwise, you guys would be able to meet back up kind of at the tavern.
So are they coming through the main gate then, or did they decide to try to come up through that place near where they met the whatever that thing was?
The
Fake
Umbral
vampire.
Vampire.
The abomination of nature.
It sounded like the group wanted, or that they wanted to come up through the sewer
Correct.
and not through the gate.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay. There we go. So yeah, you guys will be able to come back up. Coming up out of the sewers, and like I said, I imagine everybody kind of meets back up at the tavern.
We're gonna need a room to wash up.
Yeah, I imagine you don't smell the greatest. I mean, the city itself isn't exactly like sparkling majesty, but you guys are especially notable.
Couldn't Rockman just press the digitation off?
However
Yeah.
many times that's necessary.
I imagine it's like 4 or 5 times for Mongo. He's kind of big.
Yeah.
Imagine
Well,
you're just
it's
there
not
like,
like
I'm
we're-
clean!
It's not like we were rolling around in it.
Yeah, but yeah.
Have you ever walked in a room that stinks of smoke? You leave stinking of smoke.
Yeah. Trying to, Rockman is able to get the physical bits off of you. There's still kind of that lingering smell. It's just like, oh, you need a shower. It's not like really bad, but it's like that guy at work that needs a shower.
So I imagine that's kind of normal Mongo smell. To an extent. Because I don't picture Mongo doing immense amounts of showering.
He
Sorry.
has a normal, healthy male scent. Normally.
That is.
So we'll light a candle.
So yeah, you guys will be able to meet back up at the tavern. Vic is still kind of getting everything ready. I imagine by this point it's probably later in the day because you guys came in fairly early in the morning, about 9-10 o'clock. So by now, after all the tromps traipsing through the sewers and all the exploration, I'd say it's probably been about 8-10 hours. So you're well later into the day, coming up on the evening, end of shift work kind of thing.
So I think we would. Well, we originally just got rooms for 3 of us, so I don't know if we would. I guess it makes sense to stay in the same place, but I don't know if we would want to try to pass that off as just. Oh, and here's the rest of our group. I guess that would be as good as any excuse for having a bunch more people show up.
We saw each other on the road. 2 different groups.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Nick. The group has met up and they're deciding what to do in the tavern. How to get extra rooms.
Okay.
And that's it. You're caught up.
We walked around the city and investigated the walls and didn't see anything terribly exciting. They're pretty uniform. There's 3 gates. That kind of a thing.
Right on.
So I guess the second group, the sewer group, is going to arrange for a room.
Sarah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you rather speak to the innkeeper, or would you rather have Mongo speak to the innkeeper? Sarah.
I don't like humans.
We can get Brahm, or we can get Brahm's character.
That's true. I forget he's there because
So, just as a reminder, the innkeep, Vic Morley. He's got kind of this shortcut hair, not quite to like a military buzz, but a little bit longer than that. Not much more though. Kind of looking at him, he's got kind of these almost loose jowls on him. Not from like old age or anything, but if you've ever seen somebody that's like gone through liposuction or they've just lost weight way too fast, they kind of have that loose skin on them. It's kind of like that.
Used to be the jolly, rotund innkeeper, now less rotund.
well, I imagine they're starving, so
And again, it's kind of looking around the tavern itself. It's kind of dark, a little grimy. There's a couple of torches lit kind of around the place that as the day's getting on, he's going around lighting the torches. But even like the mugs, if you get a drink, everything just has this kind of film over it. Like washing glasses with a dirty rag kind of thing.
Oh, that's my impression of the whole town.
Yeah, pretty much.
but yeah, Naren won't want to talk to them.
Does Naren just go to step up and then nopes the fuck out?
So Brahm can just go up and say, "Oh, we'd like to get some rooms."
Hello.
I didn't know he was Swedish now.
Yeah, we'd like to get some rooms.
As someone who speaks to someone Swedish, no.
He's from North Dakota. No, okay,
Oh,
right?
it's just getting worse.
And again, he kind of fished back. And if you're just, or I don't know, how many, or you guys got, Nick, how many rooms did you guys get before? Just one? I think it was
one
just
between
one.
the three of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we only got the one.
Yeah, I mean, how many rooms total would you guys be wanting to get? They run about 5 gold apiece.
Brahm's loaded. He wants a room by himself.
Yeah, that's,
Brahm is
And-
loaded.
And he's going to spring for a separate room for Mongo and for Naren.
Well, I think
There's a line.
Mongo and Brom could probably share a room because all Brom needs is a corner to stand in.
That's true.
He's a
he's
table and
one
a
of-
chair. Jeez.
No, you don't even need that. He has no muscles to feel pain.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're taking a rest, he still needs to be able to kind of sit down and do the
Oh, yeah.
self work and all that junk.
He just needs like a cleaning cloth and a towel to lay flat. Just field stripping himself.
But yeah, he wouldn't need much. It sounds like you guys are kind of leaning towards 2 rooms, so grand total of 3. Right?
Sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not speaking for Bram.
But you are.
Brahm's loaded. He can definitely go for at least a room.
He's got almost as much plat as he does gold.
Okay, never mind. Yes.
Let's loot him while he's not here.
All right, well, let me take 10 gold out of Brahm's purses then.
I'll play Brahm for a few minutes and say, Rockbond, you look like you could use some money.
Yeah, here you go. Here's 10 plat.
Now, looking at timeline, when's the army going to show up?
Let's see. So we're coming up on the end of the day. They should be here by, at the earliest, probably end of day tomorrow.
And the goblins?
Later that night.
So, I don't know if we would want to talk in the downstairs part of the tavern, or talk head upstairs after we have food to talk. I mean, are there other people in the tavern? Can we find a discreet location?
I mean, in the tavern, people are starting to pile in. It's not super crowded just yet, but they are starting to kind of come in, get, ordering drinks and such.
Yeah, so I think we would probably avoid too much chit chat until we went upstairs or something to the rooms.
Would we display our connection to anybody down here, or would we not interact overly much until we get upstairs? As in, like, the 2 groups.
Right. I think we
split
were
up.
saying the idea was that we might have met on the road or something like that, so we recognize each other, but we're not necessarily together, that kind of a thing.
Right.
Just 2 groups having a drink. It happens in pubs.
Acquaintances.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I remember. You passed us here on this road junction. Hi again. How's the kids?
I almost imagine, like, if you're doing it that way, I almost imagine it like if you've ever been to a truck stop diner, like the semi drivers that always kind of come in, like, oh, hey, what's going on? The on the road truckers. I guess it's more of an American Midwest thing than in the UK, but
Yeah, I know of it though.
yeah.
Believe it or not, we do have truckers. They just don't haul as long distance.
Well, yeah, duh.
I'm imagining that we would want to keep any perception of friendliness to a minimum in public, just because of the police state that we are in. and that somebody has to have noticed a giant honking army coming up the road?
Well, like I say, you guys were able to move quite a bit quicker than the army, so that it takes them about a day or so to get behind you.
Right, but again, police state,
Mm-hmm.
vampires.
So I take it you guys are gonna kind of group up upstairs, and collect upstairs, right?
Yeah, I think so, and speak quietly because I think there's probably we'd want to just catch up on what each group learned, right, and then
Yeah.
do a little planning of where we want to go next. So it seems like we've learned that the information that vendor provided was pretty accurate, and that's a reasonable way to get in. Has the path up to the castle. We know about the walls and the gates. It doesn't look like anybody's necessarily preparing for an assault, so there's could be some degree of surprise.
No, it's not only a path up into the castle, but it's a path right up behind this inn. So in the middle of town.
Right. So there's more than one exit from the sewers, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Like major exits, like what you guys found there, there's probably only about 2 of them through town, maybe 3.
That's still enough for a strike force to sneak in.
Yeah.
Probably others that weren't on the path that we followed.
I would say on the path that you guys followed, you only came across like the one. The guys up on the Rockmon, Ristal, Zora, you guys would have seen probably about 2 more, just roaming the city.
Okay.
So Rockmon's just going to ask the rest of the group. Okay, so I think we've gathered some good information. What's everybody feel like we should do with this? I mean, we could just leave the city first thing in the morning and head back to find the folks we were talking with before and pass that information on.
That's what we said we'd do.
Yep.
I think we should definitely let the army know that Vinder's information is accurate, or better or worse.
I'm imagining, since there's an entry point right outside the inn, we might not even have to wait till morning.
Yeah, we could head out that way.
Leave town in the middle of the night.
I
We
don't
could
know if
leave
that's
and come back before daybreak.
I don't know if that's asking for trouble with the
Night residents.
exactly.
Oh yes.
It's heading out of the tavern to the grate right behind it. And you only ran into the one not quite vampire.
That was during the day outside.
Yeah, it's sewers.
Yeah, that was underground.
There's the possibility of someone or some persons staying as a to continue gathering intelligence. That could be useful as the other group gets here. But I don't know if we want to split things and do that or not. That seems potentially risky.
I would be willing to stay if that comes up as a choice.
When we split up last time, we were both going to end up in the same place. That was the intention. Now, one of us stays behind in the city full of vampires, cultists, and void drakes, while the rest leave? I think that's a bad idea.
I never
Safety in
said it
numbers.
would.
What did you say, David? Sorry, I didn't catch it.
Safety in numbers.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, you still got that bad mic, but anyway. Naren or Ristel? Give me an Arcana check.
All right.
Either one of you.
Oh, either or. Okay.
I feel excluded.
Yeah, that might be you, Naren.
I'm a 0.
Oh, all right. Oh, well then.
Okay. Bristol's probably gonna, I imagine, feel it first. Naren probably shortly after. You're gonna feel this presence downstairs. Sorry, this presence downstairs. I imagine Ristel. You're both going to feel this presence, but Ristel's going to feel... It feels twisted somehow.
So it's not Faye.
Does it feel like a creature, or does it feel like some kind of portal opened up or something like that?
I'd say it feels more like an individual or a creature. It's certainly not a portal or a pathway.
I am going to whisper to Flix. Something's downstairs. Something's not right. Would you mind going dark and checking that out? Just peek downstairs.
I imagine Flix has been there kind of... Do you just kind of always have Flix out, or do you pull him out or kind of summon him when you need him? Or...
He pretty much lives with me now.
Okay.
He's one of us.
I imagine he's kind of like off in the corner, almost picking at his nails kind of thing. Just... Fine. And you see him kind of fade away as the door creaks open a little bit. Are you gonna look through his eyes, or are you just gonna have him report back to you?
I'll wait for him to report back.
Okay.
As he leaves, I'm gonna look around. Something's downstairs. Flix is checking it out right now.
Can you define something?
And this would very much be both of you guys, or both of your kind of Fey touch or Fey sense kicking in.
It's fucked up on
That narrows it down
a
to
number of different levels. I don't know what it is. It's a who, not a what. I'm relatively certain of that.
Wait, can Ristel actually detect, like, sentient beings from, say, like, I don't know, a random corrupted fox?
The Fey touched background, you kind of... You always have this almost preternatural sense of... like Fey-like things. Mostly, it's really handy. Like, if you're trying to find like an invisible portal to the Fey roads, they can always kind of sense it. But I played a little bit further. Like, yeah,
I was just genuinely curious, not like asking for a ruling.
right. Like finding like a satyr in the middle of the forest, probably not.
So probably especially true for like significant beings.
Yeah, they've got to have some pretty potent mojo to really kick up on the phase sense. Like I forgot his name now.
Bollock.
Bellic. Yes. Bellic was like a beacon. You didn't have to do a check. It's like, oh, yep, he's over there. It's also one of those, like, if you're in the court, Naren and Ristel would basically be able to walk into the court and one of two, they would either be completely flooded with phase sense from everywhere, or if they kind of shut their eyes and focused a little bit, they'd be able to, it'd almost be like a compass. They could tell where the more powerful individuals are in the area. They wouldn't necessarily be able to say, oh yeah, the queen is over there, the Lord of the Hunt's over there. They couldn't necessarily go that far, but they say like it's almost more like a Dragon Ball power sense. Like, oh, there's something over there.
Okay.
Close your eyes in a dark room, you can tell where the bright light is.
Yeah.
Though we all know that if we did that, Bristol would just go, nope, 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 because Lord of the Hunt, no, no.
I say
Yep.
you can't tell what it is. You can. It's almost more like,
Only that it is.
yeah, it's kind of like a compass with magnetic poles all around you.
And if it was a familiar feeling, it would have been recognizable. So it isn't like the queen or the hunter or somebody big like that. It's somebody else.
Like I said, if it's a big mojo power hitter like an arc or like a Fey Lord or Fey Lady, then it's one of those like, whoa, what the hell is that? Like a big bang off in the distance. You know there's something over there. It's not always recognizable.
So we'll see what Flix says.
Do you guys want to discuss anything else while Flix is out looking around?
So Rockmon's just going to say that if we do sneak out at night, that actually, if we don't come back, that might be a trigger for the innkeeper. If we suddenly disappear, he may let some of the authorities know that something suspicious happened. So I don't know if that's a great idea.
He'd probably assume that we got grabbed up by those authorities already. I get the feeling that he doesn't want to ask too many questions.
Could be.
Yeah, I mean, while you guys were walking around town, you did notice that the population is largely seems to be human. There are a couple of off races, secondary races, but for the most part, it's human with a few elves, some dwarves, a few kobolds here and there, but mostly human. At least on the surface. So having a minotaur, whatever the fuck Zora is.
Wow. But okay.
I forgot what you were. I forgot what race you were.
And Kajani.
That's right. So yeah, having like a giant minotaur, Kajani, a gear forged, and a raven folk
Walk into a
probably
bar.
would stand out.
Walk into a bar.
Yeah.
Brom ducks.
Bram's the only one that wouldn't have felt it. Damn him for not wanting it. I think we're waiting for Flix now.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, it'd take about 5-10 minutes. Eventually, you'd see the door kind of creaks open a little bit and pushes back shut, and you see Flix kind of phase back in. There's some tiefling woman down there.
But I'm curious, would Zora know what a tiefling is?
Yeah, I imagine you'd have
That-
seen them.
I
Yeah.
thought they were supposed to be really rare for Midgard.
Yeah, they're fairly rare. They're more native. Give me a nature check. We'll do that.
Yeah.
Make it easy. Take
Cool.
it completely out of descriptions. Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
You'd have come across them. If not in Zobek, then roaming.
Okay. Cool.
They're fairly rare, kind of outside of the Wasted Wests. But you do see them every once in a great while.
There is a very infamous clan on Demon Mountain.
So what's the tiefling doing here?
As far as I could tell, getting a drink. Asking questions. I didn't stick around long. You know how hard it is to move around and not bump into somebody?
I imagine since you can fly, you could just press yourself flat against the ceiling.
Wings. Wings, dumbass. Still have to be able to flap them.
I did not say flap. Press your back to them.
And then I fall.
And thus is a very entertaining moment, fair though.
And he's kind of like looks at Zora. He's like looking back at Zora between Ristel and Zora. Where do you get these people? Look, some tiefling woman had a half mask on. I don't know. And one of her legs was kind of burned up.
Part of me wants to ask, would I know what that means? But
Yeah,
that's
does
a nice
any of that
intro.
description match any well-known tieflings from the plains?
Give me history checks.
History, it's
Yeah.
Pat D20, let's see what I know. Slightly more than Ristel, apparently.
I like that Mongo and Ristel both have a -1. Who's rolling for Brahm? Not it.
I'm gonna get a Shia if I'm playing him.
You now have to do the bad Swedish accent too.
I don't know. It sounds like
Oh,
Shakes
the
has
bad
been
sweet-
making
I
a
can
lot
do
of
that.
decisions for Brahm.
What's the D4
Hello.
for?
How bad Swedish are we talking? Are we talking just a bad Swedish, or are we talking Swedish chef bad?
I almost picture like from the Sheiks earlier. I picture like Swedish Chef Muppets bad. I want that thing now.
History rule.
Have you ever played
I'm not sorry.
oh, what is it, Magica? I think with the wizards and the
Yes.
spells. Yes.
He's a lad, not a vampire.
Manpire.
Perfectly here.
Manpire. I'm a manpire,
manpire.
not a vampire.
Okay.
Distractions.
Completely
All right.
derailed.
So, I'm curious what the D4 was for now.
Was it E4?
Oh, from Brockman.
Rockman's on mute.
Rolling
Shakes.
for Doggo?
You're muted.
Dog
Shakes,
is
if you're
presumably going nuts.
Okay. Noisy dog. Yeah. I would say, let's see, Rockman. I would say in Rockman's travels, he would have come across an individual by the name of Indrana Nethel. The tiefling woman from the Wasted Wests. She kind of resettled down, or she moved around a little bit and resettled in Zobek. While she was traveling, she was, rumor is, she was set upon by a small village that beat her nearly to death. severely burned her in several places. Nearly died, if the rumors are to be believed. She survived somehow. And again, if the rumors are to be believed, came back some months later and burned the village to the ground.
Because that's a nice response.
Payback's a bitch.
No one was known to have survived. In fact, the next people that kind of went to the village, the villagers had been splayed out all over, disemboweled and flayed.
I'd say that's extreme, but no.
The damage that they did to her, she now wears a mask to cover the bulk of the burns. It is difficult, or it did slow her down a little bit. Her left leg is. Have you ever seen like a chicken leg that was cooked too much? How it's nice and plump to start, and then it kind of shrivels up around where it was burned.
Yes.
That's her left leg.
That is nasty as fuck.
Right around like the lower part, around the calf, is shriveled and burned. She's still able to walk on it. She has a little bit of a limp. It's thought that she's got dealings with higher beings, and not the nice ones. That's how she was able to come back and take the village down so quickly.
Or perhaps lower beings.
Well, higher power beings. We'll put it that way.
So some kind of Fey connections then?
It's not really clear. Rumors kind of jump all over the place. Nobody's really 100% sure if it's Fey or devil or demon. It's something big with some big mojo, though.
So Rockmon will just specifically ask Ristel and Naren if that's what they're sensing, that this is some sort of a Fey presence.
It's fucked up. It doesn't feel like any Fae I've ever felt.
Could it be what not like?
If it is, then she's a lot more badass than we can handle.
Noted. Let's hope the questions she's asking is not about a group of strangers arriving in town. We're in a city. Why am I even saying that?
So, changing the subject slightly, guys, but does anybody have a sense of why we would have people here from Zobek? Do you think this is all related to the archmages, or that seems odd that there's a significant Zobek presence here?
We're not that far from Zobek.
Something tells me a body like the Archmages wouldn't deal with a woman of that reputation.
I'll also point out, just as a reminder, from way back when, the Archmages did mention that Volzog did have a group of people that had more or less, not necessarily sworn worship to him, but definitely followed him around in Zobek, that it was thought that they had more or less left Zobek and settled in Bratislor.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what you guys were originally, way back when, coming to check out.
Okay, so just some more interesting information. I think we should probably avoid this tiefling woman if we can. Sounds like more trouble than we want to get into, certainly in the city here.
I'll also point out
But if we have a means of covertly monitoring or surveilling what she's asking about, maybe we can gain some information. She might be a higher up in the Void Cult, and perhaps gain some insight as to what's going on based on what the questions she's asking.
I'll also clarify too. She took out a village of commoners, not a village of adventurers. Imagine, given the right motivation, Mongo could take out a village of commoners.
Yeah, but numbers eventually will win out.
It wasn't exactly. It wasn't like a Bradistor-sized village. It was like a village of like 50 people.
Still a lot of people to win a fight with, even if you're a
Yeah.
mage. But duly noted.
Less people than were at the farm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do we want to go down and observe a bit, or at least some of us go down and observe?
The less we expose ourselves to someone like that, the better. In fact, her poking around here only makes me think that we should leave sooner rather than later.
I'm fine. I think the sooner we can get information to the contingent from Zobek, the better. So I'm fine with making an early exit. Just hopefully it won't raise any interest.
If we're leaving, are we taking the high road or the low road?
Yes.
I told the guard at the gate that we were staying, so going back out tonight would raise a lot more questions than we need. So I figure we take the sewer out.
And they might be shutting the gate at sundown anyway.
Yeah, well, when we looked at the gates, it looked like, or when we looked at the walls, it looked like if it was that there was the walls and the gates were there as much to keep people in as to keep people out. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if that's the case, that they shut things down and don't want people leaving at night.
In case one of the family wants to come out and get a midnight snack. Want to have the full menu available.
So shall we wait till things quiet down a bit and then head on out? I can certainly cast tireless on everyone so we can make good speed getting out of here.
That sounds like the way to go to me.
I can give no better plan.
So what time is it currently?
I'd say you're getting on kind of like the end of the day. It's probably 6, 7 o'clock.
So is it worth any benefit trying to get a long rest and then leaving at 2 or 3 in the morning?
Yeah.
Can't hurt.
Shall we plan on that then?
Let's just hope we don't drop into the sewer on top of like 6 umbral vampires.
I'm hurt that you'd think I would do that.
You'd only do 5.
I'm hurt that you don't think we would think you would do that.
One for each person. Personalized service.
So you guys are going to take a long rest?
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Bit early.
Okay.
Oh, dark
Dark and
30.
early.
Yeah. Head out late. There we go. So yeah, I mean, you guys will be able to get some rest, kind of sleep up a little bit.
Get my hit points back.
Yep, yep. And let's see here. Let me find a thing.
How many spell slots do I have? I haven't cast any spells.
You guys are 7, I think, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, in theory, I could cast Tireless on everybody, then get a full rest, and have an extended Tireless on everyone.
Uh-huh. Yeah, good.
How long does it last if it's just one person per spell?
24, I think. Yeah.
Is it a whole day?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that.
Okay.
So we get tireless while we're sleeping.
Yeah, I imagine it probably makes it a little bit tougher to go to sleep. You get kind of like restless leg kind of thing.
The buzz. The buzz.
Get 3 times as much sleep then.
There you go.
So you guys sleep for 18. No, yeah, you sleep the whole time. Sleep 3 times as long, right? 3 times as much.
Very, very efficient sleep.
Yeah. So you guys will be able to get a long rest. You know, you kind of wake up early the next morning, later that night, kind of thing.
Oh, dark 30.
Brom can wake us up.
My wrists are gonna wake you guys up.
I mean, Marin could too.
You guys don't sleep?
They both have trance.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Silly elves having to sleep, but not actually having to sleep.
Okay.
But yeah, kind of. So you guys kind of plan to head out about like 2-3 a.m. the next day, right?
Yep.
So yeah, coming downstairs, there's really nobody in the tavern. It's pretty well empty. You guys can head on out. Assuming you're leaving your keys and all that junk.
Yep. Head to the back. Lift the grate in the sewer.
Mhm.
Take a good look before we go down.
Yeah, I mean, looking down, you're kind of looking down this access hatch, access hole, and no, you don't. Aside from like the water kind of flowing by, you don't really see anything.
And I assume Mongo can guide us to the entrance easily.
Yep.
Yes.
Don't even need the map anymore. But we should
Of course,
keep it.
he can only get to the access and the courtyard exit. He doesn't know the rest of the sewers, but yeah.
Right. As long as you need something on that path, you can get to it.
Mhm. Bzz, bzz.
Oh, sorry. I thought my mic was muted.
We're assuming that the umbral vampire disintegrated, right? When we killed it,
No,
it oozed into.
no, the body's still laying down there.
You
Oh,
cut
okay.
its head off, right?
Yeah, cut the head off, kick the head away.
Thoroughly killed it.
So let's roll.
Right.
Roll the head.
As the body sits up.
Let's go bowling. We're going to be headhunters. We got Lord Balok. Now we got the umbral vampire. Who else?
We don't have Lord Belloc.
Nope.
Well, we used
7
to.
has it.
Mm-hmm. 7 had a lot of stuff on him.
7 has a lot of stuff on him.
Yeah, you guys head down through the sewer and head on out of town.
Yep. Okay. Do we encounter anything in the sewers?
Nope. Aside from the disembodied, or the disheaded body, disembodied head, yeah. Decapitated body. No.
I just imagine Zora going through this game. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I know this is literally fertilizer, but no. You knock that shit off.
Yeah, there's a certain point where
Yeah.
it's no longer it's biohazard waste and not fertilizer. There's that fine line between the two.
I like to think we walk that line every day.
Heading out of the town and heading which way? Straight back to the army or to the farm to intercept the goblins?
To the army.
The exit from the sewers wasn't too far from the wall, so we should probably be careful and be stealthy till we're well clear of the wall, so we don't get spotted by sentries.
Only somebody had an ability to help with that.
Flicks will cast invisibility upon everyone.
You're gonna cast it on myself, isn't it?
No.
Whatever.
You can cast invisibility, it will.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, heading out of the sewers, out of the town. Which way you guys heading?
Army first, then to the goblins? The army would arrive first?
The goblins were going to get here first, and they were going to do whatever they were going to do.
I thought that the last timeline check, Travis said that the goblins were get here a little later than the army.
No, he said they'd get there that night.
Mhm.
As in tonight.
No, the night after the army. So the army
was supposed.
assuming-
the army was coming in late afternoon, and the goblins would come in the evening.
Yeah, assuming everything goes perfectly smooth and travel times are all great, army's gonna get there at the end of the day. Goblins that night. So that night being after the army.
So I'd say
Okay.
we take a high speed run to the army. Seems like the logical thing.
Yeah.
Unless
Have
we
to
want
be
to split the group.
We have to be careful of sentries in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I'm assuming
sentries.
we clear the area a little ways and then pick up the speed.
Oh, I'm not saying not only the city sentries, but the army sentries.
Sure.
So guys are heading to the army, right?
Yeah.
I need to get a drink, so let's take a quick break. Say be back at 40.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sounds
Sure.
good.
That way everybody can get drinks, do the bathroom, all that fun stuff.
I'll break. wasn't able to find a tactical spoon, but I found a tactical fork.
I actually have like a two-piece thing. It's a camping set. It's not really tactical, but it's a fork and a spoon that kind of lock in together. It's almost like a Swiss Army knife, but it's got like a spoon and a fork, and I take them apart, and then like the spoon has a knife on the bottom, and I think the fork has a bottle opener for some reason, but
Because why not?
it's got a corkscrew bottle opener. Like,
Yeah,
why
it
are you
can
bringing
be-
a bottle of wine camping, weirdo?
It depends whether you're properly camping or whether you're doing that. We're just going to go and have a picnic in the field camping.
Yeah. In which case, you're probably bringing proper silverware, and not like this camping thing. But
Yeah.
all right. Anyway.
On to the army.
This boop. Ba, 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 ba.
Hopefully we don't get fireballed as we approach the army at high speed.
We'll fireball back.
That'll be rude. We shouldn't do that.
Actually, I gotta do this.
We're only a day out.
Mhm.
Okay.
They were a day out for like large army marching pace.
It's like 10, 15 miles.
Compared to like the rate that you guys would be traveling, like your small group, you guys would probably be able to make about twice the distance that like a large army would make, because there's 6 of you, and not 60,000 of you.
Right. Army on the move will make 10, 15 miles
Yeah.
on foot.
Yeah. But yeah, you guys, like I say, as you guys are getting there, kind of the sun's, I would imagine, with tireless, triple movement, all that junk, I imagine you guys aren't really taking your time getting back there, even with tireless. You're still hurrying up, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Should
We
get
wanna
there.
get those.
Should get there around sunrise.
That's exactly right. It'd probably take you about 3 or 4 hours. You get there, the sun would kind of just be starting to come up over the mountains. And you guys would be able to come up on this army. I imagine you guys are going to go where? Straight
try
to
to-
Melinka?
We're
Try
going
to- try to find- I would think so.
if they'll let us.
I'm not going to, like, nitpick role-playing so much that you have to make it through the individual guards and give the right password. That's just boring.
Because we all know the password is password.
It's sexy god 123.
No, we know Travis's password.
Not monkey.
Bursting bladder.
No, we know David's password.
So we find our way back to everyone's favorite Zobekian.
I mentioned it to Nate, but it's like I'm equally baffled and amazed by the how the party looks at the council in Zobek. Fuck that dwarf guy. We hate this bitch. The kobold's cool.
Kobold's cool.
Short as dragging in as a figurehead.
So do we all want to go talk to Melinka, or should we just have a subset of us to try to minimize the strife?
I mean, Zora kind of likes her, so Zora will go.
Yeah, Ristel was planning on going in.
I think Ristel was like attracted to her actually. So.
He
You're
gets an
saying
elf
that
boner.
Ristel lusts after Malenka?
I don't know if it's quite that level, but yeah, something like that.
The implication is definitely he likes women that could potentially just kill him.
He likes strong women.
She makes some good points.
point.
So does Naren want to go in as well?
She'll stand near the door.
So as not to shoot an arrow at her.
What? So if we go in, Rockmon, I don't think we want to spend a long time going through the details, but unless you really want to,
Exposition dump. Yeah. Okay.
he would just tell her everything that we had learned in terms of the what we saw about the walls, what we saw about unless somebody else has something to stop that or whatever, about the path through the sewers, the option of coming out either at the castle or at the elsewhere potentially in the city.
So I think it's something like
I'll also mention the fact that there's that quiet dog. I also mention the fact that there's doesn't seem to be any real preparations for the battle or for a battle. They don't necessarily expect it, but what we saw in the warehouses, that all that stuff.
Yeah, Arista would take care to emphasize the drakes of unusual nature and their discovery of Indra and the bad juju associated with that.
And the validation of vendors' information.
Nah.
Zora would say it, but begrudgingly.
I don't know. Did I type out that name for you guys? I think I did. No,
Which
I
one?
didn't.
Indramethyl?
Indrana methyl.
It's close.
That's not even close to how I had it spelled, so that's good.
How do you keep track, Travis? You have a spreadsheet
For what?
for your
The name.
character names.
I just have character sheets for them, and then amazing organization of those sheets. Like when we changed over to this one, I think Nate and Sarah saw it. Like I've got folders inside of folders inside of folders.
Yeah, we came online to help you go through them. I remember.
Like I've got a folder for NPCs, and then I go down location specific, and then I would go down Zobek, and I want somebody in the council, and I've got Melinka Vendemic.
Yeah, I saw the bones of that when you set up that two-shot.
Yeah.
It's a logical structure.
Yeah.
I won't deny its efficiency.
Now if I could just get rid of all the damn sheets. It's a lot.
So
Yeah.
what's Malika's reaction to our dump?
Well, I mean, first, she's still kind of waking up. You guys get there about 6 a.m. The sun's just coming up. Even for military, that's early.
Not really.
Nope, that's correct. Usually people are at work by sunup.
Yeah.
No, like I say, 9 years I was in, like, the winter time, we'd be up that early. Only because the sun didn't come up till 7.
I was stationed on duty, muster time was 6 a.m.
Yeah. Not ours. It was 6:30 first formation, flag up at 7. Then we did PT for an hour, then we went and showered, changed for an hour, and then went to work at 9.
Sounds like you were in a lax place.
It was every unit that I was in for almost 10 years.
Oh.
I mean, it was a little different if, like, we were overseas or on deployment. Then, like, you had shift work, but, like, the commanders are still up at that same time because they're commanders.
They don't have to.
Yes, precisely. But yeah, I mean, she'd be up and around, but it's still kind of that early morning, first awake. I haven't had my coffee. What the fuck are you doing? So picture Melinka as she normally is, but more grumpy.
Metal
Grumpy squared.
double count.
So So they're not expecting us. Good.
I would hesitate to say that. They do have some manner of force moving around outside. We came across trolls on our way in, and it seems like they have the means to influence, if not outright control, trolls and other similar creatures. We also came across, frankly, a charnel house a few miles out from the city, where Vinder and Aurora held their friends, their comrades, whoever. It was like fish in a barrel out there. So they have eyes and ears, potentially, and the means with which to descend upon a force.
But they're not warning their citizens.
This house outside is... And she's going to be kind of standing over this map now. I imagine you guys are kind of like pointing out where the farmstead was at.
Yeah, he would.
Is it visible from the castle?
No, it's nestled in a little valley of sorts. It's a somewhat wooded area.
And she'd be kind of looking down. They'll be able to see us coming a long way off no matter which way we come from.
If you're thinking of moving troops through there, I don't know that I would advise that. Something about that slaughter changed the nature of that place. I don't know if they left something behind that we simply didn't trigger, or if it's just a lingering sensation. But I wouldn't fuck around with that place.
Duly noted. Still, it'll be good to, it might be a good idea to have a small detachment check it out. You said the sewers were accurate.
Yes.
At least the path that some of us went through. Wasn't clear of everything. There are things down there, but
Things.
the pathway is accurate. Yes. Naren, you were down there. What was it exactly?
How would I describe it? What is it? Shadow tendrils from its orifices.
Umbral vampire.
Yeah.
You said you were able to take it out? Sounded like it was pretty easy.
We got lucky.
Did Naren say that?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say. Because this is the first Zora's hearing of that. Like, oh, we got lucky, you bet.
There might be more of them. We don't know.
Still, I'm surprised I have to admit, I'm surprised the bloodsucker gave us accurate information.
Ditto.
The map might have been legitimate, at least as far as the path into the courtyard. He didn't mention that we would find anything down there. Certainly not something like that. He also didn't mention that there are ogres and Fellforge patrolling outside. We saw a couple of them on our way in at night. Who knows how many more they have. We know they're building more.
Well, to be fair, he hasn't been there for a little while, so he may not have had the absolute most current information, but I think what he provided in terms of a way to get into the city and the details there were certainly valuable pieces of information.
If they're controlling ogres and trolls, even if it's just influencing them to do some manner of their bidding, that had to have been done some time ago. This couldn't have been a spur-of-the-moment thing.
You point out the trolls that you guys saw were the crossroads, probably 5-10 miles away, and the trolls were going
Right.
away from the city.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, Zora would speak up and say, as much as I don't want to advocate for them, that's why.
Or scouts
The
for
trolls,
where are the trolls, probably.
we do not know about the trolls for certain.
Giantkin is Giantkin.
Rockmont will just speak up and say, at a minimum, the city, as we said, they don't seem to be preparing actively for any kind of an assault, but they'll be able to see people coming. But the path through the sewers would potentially provide access to a group that could go in and potentially sabotage the gates or open gates to allow an assault force in. It seems like something you could definitely take advantage of.
Have a small group go through the sewers and be there to open the gates when we approach. Yep.
And of course, the contingent from Shadowcrag should be showing up at night. Probably, I guess, estimating tomorrow night.
This evening.
Fucking goblins. You notice, like, she kind of grips up the bridge of her nose if a headache suddenly set upon her. As long as they don't get in my way, we won't have any problems. And I suppose at least they can be a distraction for us.
Well, we might be able to intercept them and set up some sort of a plan. I think they preferred to work more or less on their own, but obviously we're working on their own in contingent or in conjunction with what's happening with the main group here. Mm-hmm. So if that's something that can be done, that might help make that whatever they are able to do more effective.
Or, if they don't want to coordinate, maybe the army just sits back a day, lets them go do their thing.
Could it be possible that we could ask the goblins to open the door?
And have my entire army in the cities. To leave the fate of my army up to goblins.
No, the opposite. To still send in your strike force, but do not make them continue their orders unless the goblins fail. Why send your men in when the goblins could do it for you?
Those slimy bastards is just as likely to team up with those bloodsuckers.
I think you'll not give them enough credit.
Look. I'm gonna station my army here. And she's gonna point to the crossroads, kind of down the road a little ways. I'll do that. I'm gonna position my army here. We'll make camp for the night. Go tell your goblin friends to approach from the opposite side of the castle. If nothing else, they can certainly provide a distraction. Not keen on moving my army against vampires at night, if we can avoid it. Only thing then I have to worry about the beasties in the wild. There I have faith enough in my troops to stand their own against some troll. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to get ready.
By your leave, then.
And then she'll more or less wave the three of you out.
Once we're out of the room, Resto's looking over and saying, I'm not going to go talk to the goblins.
I would be happy to do it, but they don't know me at all, really.
Since I was the one who spoke with them before, I'd be, I feel like that'd be something that I should do.
I would like to go with you, though. If we are going to keep dealing, I would like to become acquainted with them.
What about the other three? Zora, Brahm, and Mongo. Or Zora, you didn't go in with Melika, did you?
I imagine Zora went in with them, because...
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was in there.
All right.
Yeah, he was in there. He reacted.
Mongo and Brahm. Anything while they're in talking to Melika? I don't want to leave Mongo out.
What's the choice?
Do you want to go do anything while they're in talking to Melika? Go
Probably
see
just hang out.
Vendor?
See if he could find something to eat.
Okay. And Vendor would kind of be getting his stuff ready. He'd be not really allowed in camp proper, but not really allowed out of camp either.
Sucks to be him.
Sucks.
Someone got it. Thank you.
Okay. So as you guys are leaving Melika, it sounds like you guys are kind of trying to decide where to go, what to do, who to go talk to first, kind of thing. Running around the camp then. Stop in on anything? Anything you want to do?
Bristol's just gonna mention to Rockman specifically.
Mhm.
We could just let them go do their own thing like they wanted. Not even talk to them. They sounded pretty gung-ho about getting in there and harrying them at night already.
So I don't want to leave them in a position, a vulnerable position. I understood what you were saying in terms of letting them just go in and sort of be the front line, but there's a disadvantage to that as well, which is that if they go in, whatever happens, when the main army from Zobek approaches, there's certainly no surprise at that point. The city will be completely aware of the attack. So it seems to me coordinating things, at least reasonably well, would make sense.
All I'm saying is they've resisted efforts for us to coordinate with them already. I don't know what talking to them again will accomplish. But if you're bent on doing that, then the gods be with you.
Well, what's the rest of the group thinking? Because at this point, I think we've provided some good intelligence, some information to help, but I don't know how much additional help anyone's interested in providing, or if we want to how we want to move forward from here. So I think it's there's a couple things I want to do before we go anywhere, one way or the other. One is to see Aurora, and one is to see Vendor, and then I think we, as a group, need to make some decisions of what our next steps are.
Yeah, I think Vendor might be able to give us some deductions based on context that we might be missing, given this new information.
I would like to be in the fight, but I will go with the group's decision as to what we actually do once the fighting begins.
It sounds kind of like the group is a little split. Ristel doesn't seem particularly keen on going to see the goblins.
On that regard, it cannot hurt to at least let them know what this army is planning to do. From what I can tell, the goblins are not completely disorganized.
Well, no, like hobgoblins especially are kind of known for their tactics. They're pretty smart when it comes to organized battle. Mm-hmm. They might not necessarily have the numbers, but they have the ferocity.
Rockman will just say, I don't want to commit the group to doing something that everyone's not comfortable with. So that's what I'm saying is we need to decide. At this point, we've provided some help, and I think we just need to decide what we want to do next. If we want to continue providing some help, if we want to be involved in trying to actually do battle in Bratislava, what do we want to do? What's everyone see as the benefits, the next steps here?
It sounds like you guys, and not to step on toes, if I miss anything, let me know, but it sounds like your options are you got a couple of choices. A, to go let the goblins know or not. And B, to fight in the battle proper. Kind of step aside and let the battle happen. Or I guess maybe even assist the battle in some way, if not fighting proper.
I don't see
As I
any
said.
negatives from not at least telling the goblins, hey, this is what this army's going to do. If you want to coordinate around that, go for it. I see no negative in that. And with the speed in which we can run, it would only take a few hours.
Yeah, you guys will be able to make it up to the goblins within probably like 2 or 3 hours, yeah.
Out of character, changing tack slightly, have we heard any of the city council espouse what the purpose of this army's attack is? Like, is it to take over Bratislor? Is it to overthrow the tyrant and liberate the populace? Like, what is their stated objective here?
Preemptive attack.
Yeah, because we told them they might be making an army.
Yeah.
I think you told them in not so uncertain terms, like, yeah, they're putting forces together. So, yeah, there was a vote, and Melinka took lead, and she's leading a preemptive strike.
So this is just basically slash and burn and then head home.
Maybe occupy, if that is a possibility.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to refresh that.
Yeah, so what the council is planning is basically Operation Bratislor Freedom. to borrow from reality, briefly.
Oh, so this was just a bad idea all around then. All right.
They've got weapons of mass destruction. Take it over! Okay.
Where
But
are
did
they?
It's totally enough to do with the oil, honest.
Yeah. Yeah, Arista he'll address the group. I mentioned why I don't think we need to tell the goblins anything, but you guys do what you will. If that's your decision, I'll stay here and keep an eye on things.
So does the group want to go let the goblins know?
I thought a few of us were going to let the goblins know.
Yeah. I
Although-
guess I'm just curious who's going to let the goblins know.
The main problem with the goblins is how are we gonna find them?
If only
I
you
know
had
their
somebody in the
grievance
group that was native to the Margrave that would be able to
Right.
find her way around and find
Right.
a large mass of troops moving through it.
By now, aren't both
only
forces
we
out of the
knew
Margrave?
Hmm?
By now, aren't both forces out of the Margrave, or
They're kind of on the borders. Yeah.
You just head down the road, we'll find them.
Goblins aren't typically known for
Zorius.
stealth.
Zori, yes, and I think Rockman said yes as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Naren would want to go as well.
Okay. Mongo?
Yep.
Yep, what?
Go.
There's two choices.
If the goblins don't get informed,
Mhm.
That's a much worse case than if they, if the goblins are not informed, it's a much worse case than if they are informed.
Right. But we've already got Rockmon, Naren, and Zora are for sure heading to the goblins.
Yep, we should
Okay.
stay together.
And Ristel is staying with the Zobek army for now.
Okay.
yes? Specifically, he is going to be shadowing Vendor the whole time the group is away.
Okay.
And he's absolutely using Flicks to aid in that. He doesn't specifically care if Vendor sees him, but he wants Flicks' eyes on him too.
Shadowing is in like keeping an eye on him as covertly as possible, or just like sticking to him like glue.
Basically, yeah. I'm going to keep some distance, but
Again, there's two choices.
I'm not making any effort to be covert about this.
Okay. All right. So Mongo, Naren, Rockmon, and Zora are heading to the goblins. Brahm will and Ristel will kind of stick with the Zobek army. And Rockmon, you said you kind of wanted to check in with Aurora and Z.
Yeah, just briefly to see how they're doing.
I mean, Aurora would be anxious, nervous, worried, concerned, excited, a little bit of everything.
Are we going to tell her about what happened on their farm?
Would Rockmon bring that up?
I think so. I don't think he would. It's not something that he would want her to discover just on her own. He'd want her to have some sense that something bad had happened there ahead, so she would not just go stumbling in there thinking it was going to be all hunky dory.
Mm-hmm. And she'd be pretty shaken up by that. Did they at least die? I don't know. Quickly, if not peacefully.
I think so. There was a strange phenomenon there. We didn't know exactly what it was, but there was something that just didn't feel right about the whole environment there. We didn't stay too awfully long.
You guys actually didn't you stay the night?
Stay at the farm? No, we moved away before we took that rest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We started to pile the bodies, and then we're thinking about digging graves, and we realized it would be, a week to do that.
Rockmon would say, perhaps we can help you with that, that situation once things have been addressed properly in Bratislava.
Yeah. Was there any sign of Jeff?
We didn't see him. We don't know if if perhaps he's a prisoner in the city. We didn't. We were trying to gather information in the city, and trying not to be too obvious about it. So we didn't take too many risks trying to find out, what was going on inside the castle or anything like that. But we didn't find his body. That's at the farm.
Well, that's at least he's not dead. That's good. Let's hope. Thank you.
Certainly. We're going to try to go talk to Vendor and then head out for a quick trip to try to coordinate the other group that's approaching the city.
Good luck.
I think we'll be back after that. I'm not 100% sure what direction we're headed. Once we've talked to
Goblins.
goblins. Thank you.
What's that race of people?
Yes.
It's because I'm green.
Hey.
So
Why is
this-
it every game we come up with, it's because it's green or because it's red, just happens to correlate with the character? It's because I'm British, isn't it?
You got me. I secretly hate all British people.
We hate each other mostly as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she'd be a little shaken up, but otherwise, yeah. So heading to Vendor. Who all wants to go see Vendor? Rockmon.
Sounds like Crystal does.
I'm not going to see him. I'm going to watch him.
Well, I mean, you usually have to see him to watch him. But
Margot will go with.
Bristol's just listening to him the whole time. Eyes closed. So Rockmon and Mongo are gonna go see Vendor. Anybody else?
Naren will tag along.
Okay.
She
Yeah.
doesn't have a problem with him.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd be able to find Vendor. Again, he'd be kind of finishing packing up his stuff by now.
So we'll just give him a quick update of what we found. Tell him thank you for the information that proved very valuable in terms of getting into the city. Tell him that we stayed at whatever that name of that inn was, I forget. And just give him an update in general what we found, and then say we're gonna go try to meet up with the goblins and let them know. Does he have any ideas, suggestions of something that the goblins could potentially do to be most effective?
The Fragile Explorer. The Fragile Explorer. Yeah. I know the information was good. Thanks for confirming what I already knew. What about Melanka? Did she at least... I don't know. Say she's gonna act on it?
Yes, I think that it was effective. Again, I had complete faith in you. I wasn't worried about it from that perspective. But I think the key is that we were able to get some follow-up information and provide that to her, so that she has some additional confidence. So hopefully, that fits into her plans. I had suggested the possibility of having a group go through the sewers to get inside the city to possibly be able to open up the gates from the inside, to aid in the army in getting in.
You had no problems in the sewers?
Mongo, Naren?
Oh, we found something in the chamber next to the inn. There was a
One of the access chambers.
access chamber. It was bad. It took my strength for a while. But we took it down pretty quickly, but I think that might have been fortune rather than skill. I don't know if we did we do a history check and come up with a name, or
No, not specifically. But Vendor's about to tell you, so. They call them umbral vampires.
well, Margot would be surprised because he didn't think that vampires were that easy to kill.
They're twisted. I don't know. Normally, if they're in the city, they're kept locked up under the castle. If one got out,
There are a lot of them.
not usually, but it's difficult for the family to get rid of them. It's usually
So
when
they are like pests.
more like family members that have lost their way. The family's usually dabbling, dealing, and making deals. Every now and then, somebody's offered as payment. That power is twisted, corrupted. I guess think of it like an allergic reaction. Except instead of not being able to breathe and hives, you get that.
So Rockman will just speak up and just say, I had one question for you, something that kind of bothered me about the situation there in Bratislava. When we got there, it seemed we were able to. Three of us actually went through the main gate, and three went through the sewers. We decided to divide ourselves that way to try to check out what possible things we run into. And I was a little surprised that it seemed like the people there in Bratislava were not really expecting any sort of an assault. They had the things that we had mentioned that we found in the city, which I assume would be something they would use in defending the city or making an attack on there. But it seemed a little odd that there was just didn't seem to be much going on. Does that strike you as strange?
Well, the bulk of the, not necessarily the bulk of the force, but Bratislava relies more on speed and sudden strikes rather than raw numbers. Where Vendemic will be bringing in a massive army, Bratislava would bring in a fraction of this number.
The other group found sparkly drakes.
Yeah, those are the ones I told you about before. Maybe kind of looking at Rockman.
What good would those be fighting an army?
Those are the outsiders. That's the group that I'd mentioned that had made a deal with the city. What they have in mind for those drakes, I don't know.
Well, assuming that we can find the goblin army, do you have any suggestions for how they might be most effective?
Beat them at their own game. Faster. Otherwise, hopefully they've got a good fighting, or hopefully they're well trained. That's all I can offer.
All right. Well, we hope to be back here as quickly as we can. So hopefully we'll catch up to you. It looked like you were getting ready to leave potentially, though. Are you heading out somewhere?
I would, but it seems I'm not allowed to leave the army. now that I'm here.
Hmm.
She doesn't trust me to leave, yet doesn't trust me to stay.
Well, perhaps we've helped a little bit with that, with verifying the information that you provided. We'll see if we can help further. If we can get back quickly from meeting with the goblins.
I'll make sure not to hold my breath.
Fair enough. Well, thank you again for your assistance. It was very helpful.
And he'll kind of return to what he was doing. So sounds like the four of you are gonna split off now.
I guess so.
And I figure as they were leaving, Rista would rock up to about halfway from where he was to where they were and just kind of settle back on his haunches and watch Vinder.
For anything specific, or just like watching?
He's watching to make sure he's not doing anything furtive, like making hand signs as though you would for a spell, or if he's trying to stash anything, like those kinds of behaviors, like what he imagines to be spycraft. But at least part of this purpose is just to let Vinder know that he is in fact being watched.
Join the group, I imagine. Bender's probably aware of his watchers.
So Brahm is staying with Bristol, correct?
Yeah.
So before we leave Rockmont, we'll just tell Brahm to kind of keep an eye on Bristol and try to. He understands what Bristol's doing, but to try to, if things look like they're getting out of hand, to try to keep that from happening.
Yeah, I will, don't you know? Alright, so, I mean, Bristol's kind of like, I almost imagine kind of, almost doing that, like, hand gesture. Yeah, I'm watching you. Like,
He's
intentionally, almost. Yeah. He would, Vinder would, like, just kind of glare back every so often. Like, between tasks that he's doing, he'd just kind of glare back at Bristol. But the Zora, Naren, Mongo, Ruckmon are heading to the goblins, right?
That's the plan.
Okay.
Still got lots of time left on our.
Yeah, you're good.
Spell.
Naren, give me survival with advantage.
Ouch.
I'm off my game today.
So,
Didn't you mean sleight of hand with advantage?
even then, it's only 5 more than that, I think.
What? No.
What's your sleight of hand? Isn't it like plus 6,
9.
plus 9? Oh. Okay. Yeah, so it's gonna, I mean, you guys are gonna head out, and Naren's gonna kind of take lead, and
Get lost.
well, not necessarily get lost, because she's on home turf, but it's gonna take a little while. You guys are gonna, she's gonna kind of, well, they've been traveling this long, okay, they should be by this point, and she's gonna go there, and they're not there. She's gonna have to search for a little bit. It'll take a little bit longer than expected to find them. Eventually you will. So let's see. you got to the army about daybreak, right about sun up. Sun's fully up, all that. Excuse me. As you guys finally find these goblins, like I said, I imagine you were in with the army for a couple hours, kind of relaying information back and forth. So you would have probably head out of there about probably about late morning, 10, 11. You're gonna find these goblins probably mid-afternoon. And even then, only because of your tireless. You'll be able to find them, and they're not exactly happily trumping through the forest, but they do seem to be on a force march. They seem to be a little bit ahead of where Naren expected them to be. Or maybe they moved faster than she thought they would. Welcome back, Nate. But yeah,
So
you
I
can
think-
find them.
So I think we'll, catch up with them. Do we see? I assume we see somebody that we recognize.
Yeah, Dern and Grenell would be there.
Okay, so Grinnell actually is the person that we seem to be able to communicate with. So we'll just explain to her what we found out from the city, and what the Zobek army is planning to do. And in particular, Rockmont, I want to tell him that we've been in contact with someone who's from Bratislor, and he gave us this information that the defenses there are most likely not going to be large-scale defenses, but they're going to have specific powers and be very fast at what they do. So, given that there's vampires there, I think the speed is not too surprising. But I'm not sure what else. What other kinds of special defenses they may have. He will mention the drakes and the other things that we saw there in the warehouses. But he'll just say that the recommendation that we got from the person that the inside source was that they would the whatever was done, if it was done with speed and perhaps faster than the defenders, that the folks from Bratislor could react, that would be to their advantage.
Do we want to? Should we offer the map to them as well?
Sure, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Explain to them how we got in, or how could explain that, how they got in.
Warn them about the uglies.
Yep.
And Grenell will kind of take this map, and she'll go over to Dern and kind of be explaining it to him in Goblin. He's learned a little bit of Common, but it's kind of like that. He's taken 1 week of Rosetta Stone. Kind of thing. He can speak very, very broken, like where bathroom kind of thing. Super basic. So she'll be explaining it to him in Goblin. He'll kind of be taking note, and it seems like they've got this not nearly as big as like the one that Melinka had. They don't have like a whole table spread. He's got this much smaller, almost a scroll that he kind of pulls out and is kind of examining it, and it seems to be kind of hand drawn, but despite that, it actually looks pretty detailed, even for one that's hand drawn. But he's going to be kind of transcripting notes on the side of it. And he'll turn back over to his men and bark out some orders. And Grenell will kind of come back. Dern, thank you for your information. We use this. What of the humans, Zobek?
So Rockman will explain what they're doing in terms of going up on one side of the castle, excuse me, one side of the city, and saying that Melanka had suggested that the goblins come up on the other side of the city, on the I guess it would be the west side of the city.
I'll kind of look at the map. It will take us. Let me see something. It will take Derbaluk time to get around the mountain in position. But we will do this.
So Rockbomb will make sure he'll just say because we've always discovered on this entrance, we thought that it would be valuable to be able to get into the city to potentially have some contingent there to be able to open the gates to allow the armies, the larger groups in. I'm not exactly sure who's going to be doing that from the army from Zobek, but I think I think the idea would be to have sort of redundant groups, so we have possibly some of your group involved as well. That maybe we can open more than one gate, or if one group is unable to do actually get a gate open, that the other one can. I don't know if that's something that you feel comfortable providing a team that could do something like that or not.
Perhaps we... Derbaluk tribe not have many numbers, but we may be able to send a team. Small
Okay.
one. 5, maybe 6.
A team? I love it when the plan comes together.
So we did let them know about the Umbral Vampire. If we didn't do that already, then we'll make sure we mention that.
Okay. Well, that there
So, yeah,
that there
if
might
they
be
go through-
nasties in there. Yeah.
Yeah, if they go
Okay.
through that way, that there's some potentially nasty creatures in the sewers, so to watch out for them.
And yeah, they thank you for that heads up.
So anything else we should tell them? Anyone?
That their wagon should be black with a red stripe if they're the 18.
But they don't have any wagons.
No, then
I'm sure this is a reference to something, but I'm not sure what it was.
to the 18.
The show, the A-Team.
Never watched it.
Fair enough. Neither did I really. I just know they have a black van with a red stripe.
You are culturally deficient.
Which one of us?
When it comes to television, I think that's pretty much the case for the last
Yeah.
25 years.
I got enough exposure to Mr. T when he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it'll take them longer to get around because they're gonna have to either A, go through the mountains, or B, go around the mountains, in which case they have to pass right by the Zobek army. Total travel time is about the same way either way. But yeah. They'll do what they can. In fact, they will say, let's see. Which way will they go? Zora, give me a d20. We'll say...
Damn it.
high, they're going over the mountains. Over 10, they're going 11 or higher. They're going over the mountains. Like I said, arrival time's gonna be about the same. It's just which way they go.
They're goblins. They're hardcore.
They're something.
So did they give us a sense of how much late?
If
how
they,
much later they would be?
if like half a day, I'm just gonna slow them down. If they get there at like midnight, they won't get there till like noon.
Okay.
Just because the extra travel distance.
All right. Well, then I think probably makes sense to skedaddle back to the
Okay.
to the army and let them know that we were successul contacting the
Right.
goblins.
And it'd be much easier to find the army on the way back because they're taking the road. There's a bigger element, all that. While they're back there, or while they're on their way back, Bristol,
Yeah.
give me perception.
Can Flix assist me?
I'll give you advantage on it because Brahm is with you.
Wunderbar.
21. Didn't even need it. See? Look at
Sweet.
that. This is you watching Vendor. You will, like, so as he's kind of packing his stuff up, you're going to notice a couple of things. Kind of like he's packing his stuff up. Every now and then, like he'll pick up like his sword and he'll kind of pull it out, check it, put it back in. As he does that, you'll notice he's got all kinds of runes and etchings kind of up and down his blade. A lot of it you don't necessarily recognize. It seems to be in a language you don't recognize. He's going to kind of run a hand down the side of the blade as he pulls it out, and the runes will glow a little bit, and then he'll put it back in, prep it, put it onto his belt. Does the same thing, kind of pulls out this little hand crossbow. You don't, or as he kind of runs his hands over it, you suddenly notice that there's almost carved into the wood that there's runes that kind of light up a little bit. Holsters that. He's going to come back over. He's actually going to walk basically straight up to you.
Roll initiative.
I don't know what your problem is with me. But he's going to kind of point towards Broadislor. Whatever you think I might have done, I promise you there are 1,000 times worse. Now, if you have anything to say to me, either say it or move on.
So Bristol's gonna rock up from where he's been resting. I'm less concerned about what you have done and more about what you will do. Because you haven't sold me that there's a they and there's a you. I'm wondering if it's still a we.
So you're like all the rest of them. You
Oh,
can't
what?
see-
We're supposed to take it at your word that you, the half-breed that lived in their house, isn't with them, isn't a double agent, isn't playing on anybody's sympathies.
The family took my mother just before I was born. I didn't choose to be adopted, just as I'm sure you didn't necessarily choose to be an asshole.
Comes naturally.
As I said, so many people have problems seeing past my teeth, my heritage. I have just as much reason to see that family ripped to shreds as any of you, if not more. I was born, my mother was torn apart, fed upon for days. So do I have their blood in me? Yes. Am I proud of it? No. But I will use every tool at my disposal, every ounce of magic, of power, whatever it needs to be done. I will kill that family.
Need dramatic music in the background.
Mother died after you were born, huh?
Yes. They let her live long enough. Apparently between the feedings and the birth, she didn't live much longer. But
So long enough for you to remember her face. Not long enough for you to form that bond. Instead, you lived with that family you claimed to hate so long. Now, does that strike you as a story that's meant to instill sympathy within somebody? Somebody that you didn't save from that same family? 'Cause I've been around for a little while, and the story stinks.
I stayed with that family so I could learn their strengths, their weaknesses. As I said, I will use their powers against them. With your help or without it, I will take down that bitch. I will see Ristina's head on a pike.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Fine. You know what? What do I have to do? What do I have to do to get you to get off my back?
Well, for starters, you could make sure you tell us everything you know. I'm sure my friends didn't exactly appreciate being attacked by that thing while they were traveling the route that you gave them.
The fact that that monstrosity was there at all is an oddity. I'm not some prophetic genius. I can't predict every movement of every individual that has ever existed. What of you? You seem to be quick at the tongue. Why should I have any faith in you that you protect my back? And not slip a blade into it when I'm not looking.
You don't have any reason to. I sure as hell won't stick my neck out for you. But I sure as hell will watch you.
Look. It's because you have some high and mighty connection. You've backdoored your way into power. Into strength. What would you know of strife? Of true suffering?
Rissel's gonna get nose to nose with the vendor.
Oh, he'll stand straight up to you, yeah.
Fucking day of my life. I backdoored my way into power. I fucking earned this. I made a deal. Sure. But I fought and scratched and clawed my way to get where I am now. I lost everything, more than once, to get here. And if you think that I'm going to do anything but everything in my power to make sure I stay here and keep moving forward and keep getting stronger, if you think that I'm going to let you screw that up for me, you are dead wrong. Well, half dead.
Yeah. Right. I might be half dead. And he's gonna kind of like reach over and unbuckle a couple of spots on his armor and kind of pull it back. You ask why I stayed. This is why. And he's going to pull it kind of his armor back a ways, and you're going to see along the side and kind of wraps around his back is this combination of like bite marks and scars and slashes. So yes, I do know pain and suffering. I learned their ways. If I could have, I would have left. I was but a child, and they did this to me. Nobody should have to go through that. And you're going to see he kind of closes his eyes for a second and just... I'm glad your friends were able to make it through the sewers safely. And I am sorry that they had to come across that thing. But if you do not back the fuck off, I will end you if need be. And all of this army will not stop me. Either from ending you or taking out Restina. And he'll kind of pull his armor back. Yeah, not really even taking his eyes off of Ristel, but cinch it up just enough so it kind of stays. And he'll reach down and grab his pack. And he'll turn and just flat out just turn without flinching and walk away.
Be seeing you.
Let me see something here.
Out of character, who was Restina? Have we heard that name before?
You as players have, yes.
Yeah, that's
She-
the vampire.
Yeah, she's kind of Princess Restina is
Oh yeah, that's
the
right. That's right. Princess Restina.
yeah. Yeah.
I was going to try to channel Christian again and say something like, "Well, I think that went well," but my ability to sound like Christian is not very good. So.
I honestly wish I could do
Boys,
that.
boys,
voice.
settle down. It's so much nicer for our friends, don't you know?
What the fuck was that?
I'm pretty sure that was not Christian.
That was
Nothing we have said thus far has been Christian.
True.
that was almost Irish. No, settle down to be sure.
He does like to say "well" and kind of drag it out a little bit. But,
yeah, otherwise, like I say, he's gonna pack up his bag and basically head towards the edge of the encampment, the army, whatever.
Yeah, Ristel's gonna keep him in view.
Okay, yeah, he's heading straight for the perimeter. Would you be trying to stop him at all, or just watching him until he leaves, or what?
I'll follow him to the perimeter, and if he keeps going, then I will file that away for later.
Ristel, give me a d20. Are any
Okay.
of the guards going to stop him?
How brave are these guards feeling?
How suicidal I'm feeling.
Are they on Nick levels or beyond?
Well, let's see. Three of them are going to try to stop him.
Rip 3 guards?
Three of them are going to try to stop him. How far back are you staying, Ristel? You said within sight. So,
Yeah.
but how close within sight?
Probably no more than 50 feet away. Well,
Okay.
not 50 to 100, somewhere in there.
Okay, we'll ballpark it. We'll say 60 feet.
Sure.
Spell range.
So, as they do, three of them will come up and they'll kind of reach for their blades. And imagine from this distance, they're being loud enough that even at 60 feet, you can still kind of hear more or less what they're saying. At least what the guards are saying. Councilwoman Vendemick said, "You're not allowed to leave. Please, return to your tent, sir. We don't want to have to hurt you."
Nick, what have you done?
Vinder's gonna kind of lower his head for a second. And like I said, his back is still towards Ristel, so he lift his head and give me a perception check, Ristel.
Okay.
I'll even give you advantage because you're so focused in on him.
Ray.
You can just barely make it out. It's... He seems to be... You just kind of make out every little bit here and there, but it's... calm. Almost as... It sounds kind of like he's... Just kind of tell him to get out of his way. That he was given permission by Melinka, if they don't like it, to go tell her. And these guys are kind of gonna look back and forth for a second. And one of them's gonna kind of resheath his short sword. Let him go. And he's going to kind of step aside for a second.
Am I noting any kind of magical chicanery along with that? Melinka told me I could leave.
Not magical, per se. You are going to notice the one that kind of sheaths his sword a little bit. His eyes go not flat, but a little glossy, kind of. Just slightly. If you weren't paying close attention, you wouldn't even notice it. He's gonna kind of mean mug these other two, and they're gonna follow suit. He's gonna walk along out of the camp.
As they start to let him pass, I'm gonna call after him. Oh, poor form vendor.
He's just
Charming
gonna...
that guard so. What would the people who trust you think?
He's just gonna hold up a hand and give the finger back, and then keep walking into the forest. All right. And otherwise, unless Rista wants to do anything.
I am going to head back to where Brahm is.
Okay.
And I am going to... I'm going to make off towards Melinka's tent.
Who's rolling for Brahm?
Hi. I guess that still is falling to me.
Give me Arcana for Brahm.
Hang on, where's his sheet? There it is. That's acrobatics. He doesn't have... Oh wait, no, he's not part anymore.
Okay. So I imagine Brahm was kind of with Ristel, not necessarily me mugging as much, and it'll take a while to with 14. He'll be kind of pondering it for a little bit, and as Ristel comes back, he'll kind of grab Ristel and let him know. It's like, Those runes on that blade. I know those.
He does. I mean, he does, of course.
He knows of them.
Yeah.
Those those are Crimson Rite runes. If Brahm had to guess, Vinder has some potent mojo. He's willing. So Crimson Rite stuff. Crimson Rite is kind of a blood hunter thing, that you can sacrifice your health and boost the power of your weapons and do the elemental damage. Depending on the individual, sometimes they are either runes kind of carved into the weapon. Usually they're either activated by blood itself. I imagine with Brahm and in his new body, he's able to kind of like do that magnetic induction thing. He's able to activate them. Does take a little bit of power out of him. Haha.
Yeah.
But yeah, that looked to be some kind of Crimson Rite rune. From the distance and just how brief he saw it, he couldn't make out which one or ones.
Would those same runes be similar to the ones that are on what was Brahm's blade but is now Zora's blade?
Related, but not necessarily the same. It'd be
Okay.
from like the same alphabet.
That was more my curiosity than
Yeah.
an in-game one.
They'd be kind of like the same alphabet, but different points in it.
Ah.
Or different ways of activating it. Very much yours. Hollow Blade is very much kill something, take the essence from it, get power. Crimson Rite, they're kind of fixed. They're very specific. Like this letter does this element, or this rune does this thing.
Okay.
Crimson Rite ones are also are pretty much only activated by the wielder, making some type of life force sacrifice for it. Maybe blood, energy, whatever.
Ranged color cousins.
Yeah. Think about the same alphabet in the way that English and the Spanish alphabet use the same letters, but they're different words.
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
So, knowing that it's Crimson Rite stuff, is Ristel familiar with the term Blood Hunter?
There's one in the party, so potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
just
like I
don't
say,
know
it'd be the same way as like any of the classes. Like I said, I look at the classes more as a set of skills than this person is a blood hunter. Mongo is a barbarian. Mongo's a sailor. A sailor and a fighter, but not very well trained, so he's a barbarian.
He has a very specific lack of skills.
Yeah.
He will
Yeah,
never find us.
When Brahm tells Ristel that, he's just gonna give a belly laugh. The Bloodsucker's a blood hunter. Alright. That's good to know.
Brum would also point out that he is also a blood hunter. That he can access some of that stuff as well, and not necessarily. He recognized like one or two of the runes on the blades, or on the blade, but that's it. Hey, there were several on that weapon, or on those weapons, and Brahm only recognized the ones for fire.
No, I thank you for sharing that. Now I think we have something to share with Melika. It appears we have a deserter on our hands.
I don't know whether Brom would point out that it was kind of because of you or not.
Looked like he was getting ready to go before I said anything to him.
He's getting ready to go to battle, and he's getting ready to go because fuck you.
I don't know.
I don't know. Christian, why did you take days off? No, everyone else has carried it well enough.
Well, otherwise, yeah, like I said, we'll wrap it up for the night. Ristel's planning to go back to Melinka. Brom is shaking in a corner. And the dynamic foursome are heading back towards the army, yes?
Yeah. Let's see, why not?
Okay. Alright. Alright, so we're going to wrap up for the night, folks. Next week, Brom Christian should be back. He had some school stuff that's going on, so we just kind of did some light stuff without him. Otherwise, yeah, hope to see you guys next week. A little bit shorter session this week, sorry. Have a good night. Bye.